I always keep my introduction to three pieces because I think that keeps me whole. From job classification and risk management professional, being in cybersecurity for almost 15 plus years, and honored to launch my own cyber thing here in Davos as well earlier this week, and honored to be here part of WILL to shake in the spirit of Davos, right? Your dialogue to design. And I can't really wait to kick this fantastic panelist that we have along with me joining here. And as I call up their name, please, if we can have you all part of it. And yes, as I do the introduction, a little bit about me as well, apart from cyber, an artist as well. Happy to connect with you one-on-one to see how I can paint your stories. And as Tuti said, right, be the change agent. So that could be maybe one of the themes for us. And yes, the third most favorite role here is being a mom to a 9-year-old who keeps my energy level and curiosity in check.
So we pondered over that.
My name is Hedwig Bouley, and I am since 14 years a fashion designer in Germany. And for 8 years, we start together a really nice cooperation and do really nice
architects for almost 3 decades in India. And for the last 8 years, doing it back by collaborative artwork with Hedwig Bouley, Indo-German.
Hi, my name is Anou, Lunia, Singhvi, and I'm really happy to be in the Magic Mountains as Stuti mentioned. And there are fond memories I have of Switzerland. I used to come here with my parents quite a bit, so it's heartwarming to be back here. And I'm a 9th generation steward of an art collection of PC Lunia. I also host the Invisible Thread podcast, and I'm a partner at Angel Physicians Fund, which is a fund that helps medical startups in the US. So glad.
Hello everybody, my name is Anish Iyer. I'm currently a student at New York University, and I'm studying computer science over there. I have a background in AI and machine learning, especially with specialization in pertaining to sustainability, and in the past I've created an algorithm to help educate the community on how to properly recycle plastic.
Good morning everyone, I'm Andrea Markstorm. I am the Chief Information Officer for Cadwalader, which is a law firm based out of New York City, one of the largest law firms in the world. I've been leading technology organizations for over 30 years. I like to say that's my day job, and my true passion is I am founder and CEO of i.WILL, which stands for Inspiring Women, Igniting Leadership and Learning. And it's a movement, and it's all about building a community where we together, women, our male allies, can help each other rise and succeed. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you all for joining us this early. And so WILL 2026 starts today at Davos during the World Economic Forum Week. 2024, I had just attended an event here. That was my first Davos right here, and I knew I was going to do my event here. I love the Magic Mountains, and WILL has had a tremendous journey in 2025. We did the inaugural WILL Lounge at Davos, followed by the WILL Voices podcast, Cannes, the Creativity Festival. September was New York during Climate Week. And thank you all for joining. I can see all my supporters here, and all of you have become really great friends. And I remember in Climate Week, I heard Jane Goodell at the Journal House, and she said, if you're living, you have to have a purpose. You have to be able to create that change. And I know that you all sitting in this room are going to create that change alongside us. So thank you for joining us. And for the very first panel, I'm going to ask Japneet, who's again a great supporter, to take over, and she's going to be moderating our very first panel, and she's going to call her panelists theirs. And thank you for coming bright and early.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody, I think I can use Stuti's magic words in the Magic Mountains, right? We have our favorite people to kick it off the panel here. A little bit about myself. I always keep my introduction to three pieces because I think that keeps me whole. From job classification and risk management professional, being in cybersecurity for almost 15 plus years, and honored to launch my own cyber thing here in Davos as well earlier this week. And honored to be here part of WILL to shake in the spirit of Davos, right? Your dialogue to design. And I can't really wait to kick this fantastic panelist that we have along with me joining here. And as I call up their name, please, if we can have you all part of it. And yes, as I do the introduction, a little bit about me as well, apart from cyber, an artist as well. Happy to connect with you one-on-one to see how I can paint your stories. And as Tuti said, right, be the change agent. So that could be maybe one of the theme for us. And yes, the third most favorite role here is being a mom to a 9-year-old who keeps my energy level and curiosity in check.
So we bonded over that.
Thank you. All right, so with that, I'll invite Andrea Markstorm. She is joining me from New York City, the founder and CEO of i.WILL. And Andrea, as you get seated, I would love for you to please introduce yourself as well. Awesome. Next up, Mr. Anish Iyer, our youngest one on the panel, which really excites me even more and brightens up my day on this magic and dazzling mountains of Davos. Awesome. Next up, we have Anou Singhvi. Anou, please. Thanks, Anou. And then we have Mr. Kanhai, Gandhi. I think I saw you walking in. Awesome. Please, we would love that background music if we can. We need that energy. It's our first session. We fight hard to get this panel slot for us, you know? Yeah. Awesome. So without further ado, Hedwig, do we have you here?
Yeah.
Awesome, please. Thank you. Please join me, please join along. And can we have a round of applause while all the panelists get seated? Thank you so much. All right, maybe I'll take their names just to keep things interesting. I will let them introduce themselves and all right, Anou is here too, Anou? Okay, she's getting settled in. Awesome.
We have to stick to time.
Yes, please. So why don't you all get seated? And let's start the introduction in the round robin fashion. Maybe Hedwig, I'll have you introduce yourself. Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Hedwig Bouley, and I am since 14 years a fashion designer in Germany. And before 8 years, we start together a really nice cooperation and do really nice wall arts.
Love it.
Yeah, hi, I'm Kanhai Gandhi, practicing architect for again almost 3 decades in India. And over the last 8 years, doing it back by collaborative artwork with Hedwig, Bouley, an Indo-German collaboration.
Hi, my name is Lunia Singhvi, and I'm really happy to be in the Magic Mountains, as Stuti mentioned. And there are fond memories I have of Switzerland. I used to come here with my parents quite a bit, so it's heartwarming to be back here. And I'm a 9th generation steward of an art collection of PC Lunia. I also host the Invisible Thread podcast, and I'm a partner at Angel Physicians Fund, which is a fund that helps medical startups in the US. So glad I'm here.
Hello everybody, my name is Anish Iyer. I'm currently a student at New York University, and I'm studying computer science over there. I have a background in AI and machine learning, especially with a specialization in pertaining to sustainability, and in the past I've created an algorithm to help educate the community on how to properly recycle plastics.
First of all, that's amazing. Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrea Markstorm. I am the Chief Information Officer for Cadwalader, which is a law firm based out of New York City, one of the largest law firms in the world. I've been leading technology organizations for over 30 years. I like to say that's my day job, and my true passion is I am founder and CEO of i.WILL, which stands for Inspiring Women, Igniting Leadership and Learning. And it's a movement, and it's all about building a community where we together, women, our male allies, can help each other rise and succeed. Thank you for having me here today.
Perfect. I love each one of your introductions, and it's such an honor to be sharing the stage with you all. So while I do the introduction, I think the theme, Shruti, I love what we all penned down together here. I think giving you all, maybe not a rapid fire round, but just a quick minute while I do the intro about the theme. You have to give me that one buzzword for the win energy. All right. So topic of today, right? We often think creativity is expression, but Andrea, as you mentioned about the movement, right? It's in these movements, creativity becomes infrastructure. And at Davos, we talk a lot about capital, which is financial, human, technological. Today, we are here to talk about creative capital, the invisible force that actually influences behavior, builds trust, and determine whether ideas actually take the root in the real world. And our fantastic panelists, as they have introduced themselves, I think that's where we were very honored to have them together, because they all represent disciplines that may look different on the surface, but I think as we have learned about them, they all share one belief, that future will not be solved by efficiency alone, but by imagination guided by responsibility. All right, so with this conversation on how creativity moves from inspiration to impact, dialogue to design, from vision to systems that endure. So why don't you give me a one buzzword, Kanhai, I'll start with you. What's the spirit of you to be here in Davos? Your win word.
Introspect.
Love it. Hedwig, what's for you? Your energy word.
My energy word.
Upside.
My energy word is upcycling.
Nice. Thank you. Anou, how about you?
In keeping with the spirit of dialogue, I think the most important word for me is momentum.
Nice. Thank you. All right, Anish.
I feel like there's a lot of different words I could use, but I think right now the word I want to use is green.
Green. Okay. Love it.
And I'm gonna mention the word change, because when you bring people together and communities together, that's where we can really create change.
Nice. You see how beautifully they all tie the threads together here. So with that and without further ado, Hedwig, I'll start with you with your first question. How can design studios balance creativity with sustainability without compromising on quality or expression?
Okay. I wish my English will be a little bit better, but for that I
It's the
read-
spirit, Hedwig.
I read it now. For us, sustainability is not a restriction on creativity. It is more a kind of mission, and therefore a framework that sharpens it. When resources are reduced to and upcycling materials, every decision must be more intentional. Often this drives us to the principle that less is more. This is not just a slogan, but our long-standing design philosophy, and as you certainly know, rooted in European modernism and the Bauhaus tradition. In our studio, we discuss and question every element of the design process. The scale, the selection, the sources of the materials, every design step. What is added or can be removed to create and maintain the intent, meaning, expression, and mission. Our design process requires a common mindset of the artist and the capability for compromises. We must bridge culture differences. Sometimes we have to overcome the ego trip, but the final result was always an art we both love, from the bottom of our heart. But let me emphasize again, working with fewer, well-chosen materials requires a higher level of craftsmanship and technical understanding. The quality of our artwork is not defined by evidence, but by relevance over time, bridging cultural differences, taking responsibility for Mother Earth, and in every step of the design process, artwork, when created in such a way, is the most sustainable one, both aesthetically and aesthetically.
Thank you, Hedwig. Actually, you mentioned the word tradition there. That made me pivot towards you, Anou. You mentioned about your childhood memory with your parents and all, right? So please tell us, how can cultural heritage and art become strategic asset? And actually not just for identity, but actually for legacy and for social connection and sustainable innovation. So take us through it.
So this year's World Economic Forum's theme is Spirit of Dialogue. And that's what creative diplomacy means. And my family has created sacred art for the last 300 years across various traditions. And so what we try to do is build living bridges, Japneet. And before I go on, I have to say, and I like to say that more coffee for everybody because that's what we need right now. I'm sort of a little wired, and right after this panel, 100% more coffee.
Yes.
But this morning's beautiful, and I would say heritage is, people think heritage is from the past, but I believe that heritage actually is future forward. You know, it's something that almost drives us towards future, because from the past we learn how heritage can actually structure things. So it gives us a very good structure of how we should be working, and it proves itself to be sustainable. That's what it has done already.
Yes.
So why not use a system that actually has been proven and helps us move forward in a much easier and better way? You know, that's another way of looking, Japneet, at
Yes.
heritage.
Beautifully said, yeah.
And apart from that, I would say that a lot of people think that heritage is soft power, but I honestly feel it's power that nobody realizes. The power of heritage is very strategic, extremely strategic. And people all over the world, especially the Middle East, I would say, have been fabulous in utilizing that power. And I think in India now we can follow a lot of those footsteps and utilize that power strategically, because we have such a beautiful heritage, such a beautiful heritage. There's no comparison to what India offers.
Very beautifully said, and I love the pieces, how you brought in the cultural piece to it, right? It's about the prestige and all, and you mentioned about building the community, and then building word reminds me about you, Kanhai. Why don't we pivot to you about your architecture and design and the influence on driving the community with the sustainability living? So take us away with your insight.
So I'll start with, we had a nice drive in the morning. I think we started more or less at 7:30.
Nice.
When the sun was rising, we drove through the Alps, and it was a pretty nice drive with the sun rising. You can see the whole setting. So it reminded me of a context of a build form that we were doing back in India. Only it's the softer Alps versus the harsh Himalayas. We're doing something in Kashmir, and where contextual architecture is so important, where you're using a lot of local artisans to build the entire resort that we're building out there, and looking into small intricacies which can go along with it. So connecting the dots where, you know, context is again very important, and you have to introspect, because if we have to go with what we have and rather than exploit further from others.
Yes.
And that's something similar with unbuilt form, where Haiti and we have come together to see how that there's a strong cultural connect between Europe and Asia,
Yes.
and where we can build that across and spread the word, that how it is so important for something which sounds like, we stop using the word waste, we are using more like upcycling, and what we are using as leftovers, because if you use waste, it sounds negative or degrading.
I love that mindset shift,
Yeah.
yes.
And I think that's very important for all of us to bring in, because I'll just go off context. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she said that we guys have exploited the planet so much that you guys have left it really bad for us. So you better resolve it till you guys are there and make a better planet for us.
Very nice. Well, with that, I can say thank you for sharing your first sunlight with us in your amazing wisdom nuggets advice here. Such an honor.
Here, I would just like to add,
Please.
yes, I'd like to add that, you know, I really appreciate the collaboration that you're doing, and part of creative capital has to be collaboration.
Love it. Creative capital collaboration. 3 C's right there, right? The new marketing concept I just learned. Awesome. With that, all right, Mr. Young Innovator, how do you want to share your insight? Share with us your tidbits about how do you think AI is enabling the environmental and consumer behavior?
So a lot of times people think that AI actually is going to replace human responsibility, but I don't see it that way. I see it as more of a catalyst for human responsibility. Right now there are many plastic recycling plants around the world that use AI to sort plastics. However, the first thing to do is for people to actually recycle their plastics properly. And so that's one way that AI can help. AI can tell someone at the moment of disposal of the plastic how to properly recycle their product. Another way that AI can also help is, let's just say if you're shopping out somewhere and you want to go out and say grab some fish to eat, Well, AI can tell you, hey, there's actually this other fish that's more eco-friendly and more sustainably sourced, and it has a 40% less carbon footprint. You should go choose that fish instead. And oftentimes that makes it a lot easier for the consumer to make the sustainable choice. And so in that way, AI can help a lot as like more of an enabler rather than just replacing human responsibility. Because humans all around the world really care about sustainability. In fact, I've noticed that a lot from my generation especially. And so, people are willing to use AI. At the moment, AI obviously has some negative connotations in terms of sustainability. Of course, there's a lot of talk about the water usage it has. However, in the future, for sure, AI will absolutely be helping a lot with sustainability more than it will be hurting. So it'll be a net positive. Like some examples that we can talk about is in the future, it can be integrated into housing units to help people optimize energy usage at their house. Because oftentimes people leave the light on or they'll leave some water running or something like that. But with AI, it can analyze the energy usage or the material usage of the house, and it can say where exactly something can be optimized, what can be changed, and that'll help our society as a whole optimize our power usage, and it'll help a lot with the energy problems that are occurring.
Thank you. I should say thank you for optimizing our learning on AI. And you were saying all the right words. The women in the room would love shopping, right? You just changed the perspective on shopping and some fish. I love that. And wait, did I actually said 3 C's, right? Creative, capital, collaboration, and Anish said catalyst. And with that, I'll actually start with the 5th one, which would be creative, and then back to you, Andrea. So you're doing some amazing work with i.WILL for the women, right? So why don't you share your tidbits about women leadership and driving sustainability and how you are pushing that word forward with us being innovative in this space?
Yeah, thank you. Creative leadership, and when I say creative leadership, it's really challenging everything about how we lead teams, how we build our businesses, how we develop ecosystems, and it's really how I describe creative leadership is getting down to the values, the purpose, and so much so about why do we do what we do every day? Why do we get up, and what fuels us? And that's really what sparks innovation and driving teams to be more sustainable. We as women, I know we've got multiple careers, which include raising kids, doing everything from helping get up in the morning to reading bedtime stories. All of that and driving careers, how do we sustain that? That is when you drive creative leadership and get down to the value, to the purpose, about the why. That drives us, that fuels us. The other piece is really driving that with innovation. And instead of going with the traditional structure, the traditional legacy models, we really need to challenge those with different thinking, design thinking principles. And that is so important now with AI. Think about anytime you experiment, there's always failures. And instead of focusing on those, you fail forward, you fail fast. And think about a long time ago when 3M was designing an adhesive. This is, I think, a very interesting concept about driving creative leadership and innovation. They failed at that adhesive, and that turned into our 3M Post-it note. That just main concept needs to fuel us and innovate and drive us moving forward. The final piece I'll mention is driving with creative leadership really sustains our teams and helps us build a creative inclusion collaboration culture. Anish mentioned bringing in other cultures, other systems to drive AI, and that's more important than ever now to do that collaboratively together and really drive inclusion. So that creative leadership, driving that force is our fuel every morning.
Love that. Thank you so much. I think it's some beautiful insight thus far in round 1, right? And I'm definitely feeling that creative fuel.
So to your point, Anisha, I'd like to say from the heritage angle that innovation and tradition don't have to be antithetical.
Yes.
For example, at the World Economic Forum, we had the installation and the orchestra and the AI installation together, and that just showed us that tradition and innovation go forward together, complement each other. You know, that is the whole point. And that is how heritage and tradition can utilize AI today and are utilizing. I mean, you know, the way AI can help foster more economic resilience in our countries, the way they can help develop relationships, believe it or not, but help develop relationships between different communities should be unprecedented. And I think the World Economic Forum did a great service to us by starting the keynote with art. You know, they didn't start it with policy, they started it with art.
And actually, another good point, I'm glad you mentioned that, Anou, because technically even 2 years back when we came, and that what was etched deep in me, that despite all these pressing issues, the theme of them was actually creative. And I'm glad, you know, that is still the living and breathing spirit for this year in 2026 Davos as well. And Anish, thank you so much. Anish, with your point about like choosing the fish education point that you made, right? Maybe Hedwig, it just turned up the next question for you, right? So how do you, or what role does the choice of material play, right, in building a more responsible design for our ecosystem?
Yeah. Shall I?
Please, thank you.
Material choice is fundamental. It determines not only the environmental footprint of an artwork, but also its narrative, its tactile qualities, its relationship to Mother Earth by selecting recycled, renewable, or locally sourced materials. Art reduced emission and waste while introducing a greater degree of honesty into the world. Materials carry meaning. They tell a story of origin, process, and restraint. With a border design ecosystem, material decisions could actively influence or even shape behavior. The material we choose and integrate into higher quality, expressive work signal what is visible, desirable, and acceptable for the future. This means we transport the message of sustainability by our material choice. In this sense, we are influencers and opinion makers. Every presentation of our work, every publication of our mission will hopefully create an impact on the behavior of suppliers and consumers. Ultimately, responsible design is about concision, decision-making, accountability and respect for materials, for people, and for the environments in which design operates. From this perspective, sustainability is not an optional addition to design practice, it is ethical foundation.
Thank you so much. Well, that's beautifully edged.
I'll add to this just a small story. Day before, Hedwig and me were in Milan City, and we visited one of the old depots. There was an existing factory, which was a big brand, and they had a lot of upcycled waste fabrics, which was using a lot of silk. And I don't know how many ties they had. So they had thousands of ties. So we both went there. We chose all the material, and we would like to showcase that as a nice art during the upcoming Milan Design Week here.
Love that creativity on your trip. keeping your flow together.
It was very feeling in the depot.
Nice. And with that, Kanhai, while we already have you up here, right? Why don't you share your your thoughts about being an architect, on how you are enabling or how you are designing your climate conscious, the shaping up, how it's shaping up for the cities.
I'll just go back again out here. It was 3 decades into architectural practice, and I've seen how India has grown so fast. And as a country grows fast, people get wealthy, and then for them, there's a specific definition of luxury. And sometimes luxury could be, we back in India would be putting some nice Italian marble or having these luxury brands. So we've also been part of that. We've also exploited. But over the last decade or so, we've thought it's time that we need to introspect. That's exactly what I said earlier also. There is a bit of a conscious which starts getting to bite out here. So we are educating our clients also, because it just cannot be us. is the clients and the people who follow, that we are doing upcycling in our homes also. Using some, like we did an entire house in one of the high-end hill stations in near Mumbai, where we made the entire thing from the floor to the kitchen cabinet, everything with upcycled materials from waste crate generated from a building site. So there's something which I would like to take forth further back in India actually, because in the western part of the world at least it's quite popular and people are able to, they propose it and then they do it. But that's something that we need to educate and get it done back home.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think Hedwig, you and Kanhai, I would love to see your silk art, your dialogue, right? And maybe we can see how we can plug that in with Anou on how she has been very high upbeat about talking about the heritage and blending in the contemporary traditions as we go on. So with that, Anou, I mean, you've genuinely shared very nice and very well articulated insights with us. So why don't you, and I'm going to ask you the question, build up on your context that you shared. So in the fast globalization world, right, how do you balance, I think that's the word, another word which you were saying about orchestrating, right? How do you balance preserving traditional heritage while we adopt this contemporary creativity and actually something with global relevance?
So I actually disagree with that. There's no balance. There's just, it just goes together. It flows together.
Yeah.
And
how to find the rhythm.
Completely. And in life, I've always been thrown these curveballs. I was born in the US. I was, I constantly moved from US to India to US to India. So constant curveballs. And from that, I finally understood that life is a flow. And today I stand at a very interesting intersection, and the intersection is that I'm a 9th generation steward of an art collection that is so beautiful, so sacred. It's, if you can imagine, the British imperial crown has 23,000 carats of gemstones. Our collections have nearly 200,000. The collection, each piece might have 55,000 carats of gemstones in tapestries and chandeliers and in silver sculptures. So my dad didn't build jewelry or he didn't build eggs. He built worlds in gemstones. And that's what I'm here to showcase his legacy at some point. That is what I plan on doing. But that is my passion project. Apart from that, I stand at that intersection where I am a partner at Angel Physicians Fund and we help fund medical startups. So just the contrast, again, the contrast between US and India, the contrast between medical science and art. And finally, I've started a podcast, as I mentioned, to bring all of these aspects of me and whatever I've learned from my dad all together. These are the intersections I've been working on, and I look forward to showcasing those intersections and whatever I learned from different historians and researchers in my podcast, The Invisible Thread Show. Thank you
so much. And I love how you always bring the dad and daughter piece to it. It just makes
I'm
it very
daddy's
heartwarming. So thank you so much.
Girl.
Yeah, we are clocking time here as well. But Anish, I want to ask you a very important question. And I actually get very excited when I hear the word innovation in the right way, because you will get the points for your Recycle for awards, the optimism that you are sharing with us. And we have Kyle and Arman in audience with us. Why don't you tell us what role the accelerators play in youth? The youth who are starting this, right, on the sustainable actions or innovations.
So the thing about youth is that, let's just focus on Davos for a second. A big theme here is what will 2050 look like? However, my generation is looking even further beyond that, because that's what my generation is going to live through. We're looking at 2060, 2070, even 2080.
High five to that.
So we're not just looking at the next 25 years, we're looking at how can we impact the future even further beyond. And so a lot of times, I've noticed this especially, is this is the reason why the younger generation is so focused on sustainability is because we're going to be living through that future that I just mentioned. Again, we're going to be living past that 2050 era. And so because of that, we often have this passion to, help our society around us. And it's much easier for younger students, for younger innovators and students to do this because the demographic that all these sustainability campaigns are targeting is our generation. right? So, oftentimes you look at companies that are ran by Gen X, they're targeting people of my generation, and it's a lot harder for them to relate. However, again, I understand how people in my generation think. I know how to talk about sustainability in a way where it becomes way more important to them. And so, because of that, we're able to connect way more with the people around us and the people our age. And also, we often have sort of a boldness to us to the point where we're not fearless about anything. Because we're young, we know that we can make mistakes, and we know that it's okay that if something fails, we'll just get back up and try again, because we have time to work on these solutions, and that's what we care about. And so, what a lot of students and young innovators, the role that we can play is that we can act as sort of, the first guardrail. So we can, the research that we do and the work that we do in creating certain products, if that fails, other companies, larger companies, can use that as an example, and they can learn from that, and they can work on something with the funding that they have. Oftentimes, we don't have much funding, but money isn't exactly a primary focus for us. A lot of times it's mostly the impact that we care about. And so because of that, we fail, we get back up, we fail, we get back up, but we keep on improving and we keep on improving. And with the boldness that we have, a lot of government organizations and a lot of companies can learn from the mistakes that we make, and they can make the impact in the world from whatever they see in us.
Very nice. Well, bingo points to you. You did your work well, in your homework well, because you have your data-supported answers on your demographics and how you tied up the global point perspective to it, right? And I love it how you were already putting in something into action to play about, Andrea, your point, fail forward, right? So you were, I think, a living example to showcase what the co-panelists are sharing with the team here. So Andrea, with you, we wrap up. The last question. For your I.WILL, what is the women mindset or mind shift? Strategic strength, key takeaways you want to bring over here?
I'll be quick because I know we're at time.
Yes.
But everything that this young gentleman just said, we as leaders in this room, we need to fuel that. We need to change our mindset and be focused on looking at creativity not as a risk, it's a strategic advantage. It's power, it's authority. If you don't have a seat at the table, pull up a card chair and pull your seat up right there. You've got the power with creativity, and for us to help lead and guide that and provide mentorship and anything that we can, that's what's going to fuel our future way beyond, what did you say, 2050? I love that. 2070, yes.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we can say we are wrapping up our panel one to kick off the day with the spirit, being fearless. Right, and it's and the closing up would be definitely creativity is not something nice to have; it's a strategic advantage. So with that, let's join hands and wrap this up beautifully in a good spirit. Thank you. Such an honor.
Japneet, you were amazing. Someone else mentioned that you were other panelists as well.
Thank you so much.
Just one quick picture for all of you.
Thank you. We are joining forces, so we can see the beautiful silk art next year.
May I ask the panel to start coming?
Here we are. Hooray! First panel.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.